Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. I'm going to give double honors to the elder apostles and great millstone who rule well, and salutations and much love to the rest of you, sincere Akim, pushing word and truth and sincerity. This is the Cleric Azar coming at you with another lesson. I am continuing in my lot to bring you my ongoing series from Experts of Hollywood. This factory of perverseness, another observation of predictive programming, how art imitates life and vice versa. Just a reminder, the purpose of my videos is to show correlations. A correlation is an observation of a mutual relationship or connection between two or more things. I use movies to extract or extrapolate a narrative. I'm not glorifying the Hollywood culture or life. I have a wide knowledge of films, whether they be foreign or domestic, and I just use them as an example to bring out those similarities and those correlations. To quote Cecil B. DeMille, the greatest source of material for motion pictures is the Bible. I call this lesson, Former Servants Made Kings. The image I have on display is from a film I watched in my past. Of course, being this truth, I reflected on this particular movie. This movie was released on November 18th, 1992, 30 years ago. The title of it is Malcolm X, directed by Spike Lee. I'm going to play the scene, then I'm going to pull off some scriptures.
And cheese here. I got coffee. Put in my ring pie. Got real good. Yes, sir.
You want a ham and cheese?
Yes, sir. Best in the house, sir.
You're mighty pleased with yourself, huh?
I aims to please, sir. I'm pleased, man.
I like you, boy.
Thank you, sir. Right, sir. Hey!
All right. I just had to play that scene because I have a history myself of being a server. And I want to say I started serving probably in the mid-90s myself. And I want to say I must have been a servant for over 10 years. I'm still serving today, but in a different industry. But as far as a food servant or a food server, you know, a lot of background experience in that. I'm not going to name all the restaurants I've been in, but when this movie came out, I wasn't serving at the time. And eventually when I started serving, I always thought about that scene. And I always used to think about how Malcolm X, before he was known as Malcolm X, he was just known as Malcolm Little. And he had to do the same type of work. So I always knew I was going to come to some type of end. And I didn't know exactly what that end would be, because I wasn't in the truth as of that time. But to Thawada, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, as well as to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and on down, who were the ones to bring me into that particular light. But that's a whole bunch of Jakes that are out there that serving Esau, Edom, our so-called enemy, the so-called white man. And it always perplexed me, even being not in the truth, how of a low position we've been in these particular positions, to be basically a slave, okay, because that's what a servant is, okay. But the reason for the title of this particular lesson is the fact that now that we've come into the truth and know that you blacks, Native Americans, and Latinos make up the lost tribes of Israel, you know that your future is to become kings and rulers, okay, and to be the master, since Esau Edom is supposed to be the real slave or the real servant, okay. I'm going to bring on some scriptures here that's going to back that up. But you blacks, Native Americans, Latinos, which make up the lost tribes of Israel, you got to get out of that kind of mind state, all right? And you're just a homeborn slave. To back that up, we can go to Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 14, for it reads, "Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?" Now, the New Living Translation goes into it by saying, "Why has Israel become a slave? Why has he been carried away as plunder?" Okay? I got some scriptures that's going to back that up and explain that and provide a fruitful answer. We're just going to go into the time of Jeremiah when the Israelites had to deal with the Babylonians. We're going to start at Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 19, and it reads, "And it shall come to pass when ye shall say, Wherefore doth Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, our power, all these things unto us? Then shalt thou answer him, Like as ye have forsaken me, and served strange gods in your land, so shall ye serve strangers in a land that is not yours." Okay? All right, and that's also parabolic in dealing with us being scattered to the four corners of the world in the diaspora, but specifically for you Jakes that came over in the transatlantic slave trade over here to the Americas. Okay, New Living Translation reads as such. And when your people ask, why did the Lord our power do all this to us? You must reply, you rejected him and gave yourselves to foreign gods in your own land. Now you will serve foreigners in a land that is not your own. Okay, you see that? All right, that's the current situation that we're in now, because we've forsaken our power and we chose to serve the other heathen, the gods of the heathen nations, I should say. Okay. And that's the reason why we've discontinued from our heritage. And that's why we lost the possession of the land that we were given. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4 describes that as well. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4, and it reads, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Okay? So, like I said, like the scriptures are backing up, we will discontinue from our heritage, and we will lose the land. We will not be the head. We will be the tail. Okay. And I'm going to get to some other scriptures, so bear with me to back that up. And just like I was saying earlier, we will be in another land. Like I was speaking of the transatlantic slave trade, as well as the diaspora being scattered to the four corners of the world. Okay. And the Most High being angry with us, okay, and not having his name and to call upon to save us, okay. But we're currently in the time period where we're turning back to him in all truth and sincerity. And once Esau Edom's going to implement his new world order plan by implementing the mark of the beast, he's going to send his son Yahushua to come and deliver us. Lord willing, I'm part of that number. Okay, let me go into that New Living Translation of Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4, for it reads, the wonderful possession I have reserved for you will slip from your hands. I will tell your enemies to take you as captives to a foreign land. For my anger blazes like a fire that will burn forever. Okay, and that particular punishment and that anger, he is currently angry with us, but he's going to uplift the punishment, like I said, and send his son Yahushua, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, to return to this planet to set up his kingdom of heaven. Okay, and then the elect will be joint heirs with Yahushua and rule forever. Okay, let me go into the description and in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48, where it speaks about us becoming servants and serving our enemies. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 48 reads, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Okay, and that's the current condition and position that we're in. And you don't even have to see it in movies. You could just live your current life if you have the eye solve to see it. Okay. Hey, but like I said in Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 14, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? A lot of people don't see this. They see this as all the end-all, be-all in the condition and the position that we're in. If it's not for our peoples, the other heathen nations that feel the same way. Okay, let's go into Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7, for it reads, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. So in that particular scripture there, the writer is saying that he's seeing the servants, who's Esau Edom currently, upon horses, because horses is also a representation of power, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. So the current and real rulership class is in a servitude status currently. Okay, the servitude is in a low status, being that they're walking, and the real slaves or the real servants are in the power position. Okay, and this is not right. How do we know that? Well, you can go into Proverbs chapter 19, verse 10, backs that up. Delight is not seemly for a fool, much less for a servant to have rule over princes. Now, the New Living Translation says it even better. It isn't right for a fool to live in luxury, or for a slave to rule over princes. And that's what Esau Edom is. He's the fool who's living in luxury. All right. And it also goes with our people as well, for ones that are taking the bad, but they're not in the luxurious position as the elite of Esau Edom are in currently. Okay. We're still in a low position, even if you have $1 billion in the bank. Okay. Okay, and this also goes back to the first book of the Holy Scriptures, Genesis, chapter 25, verse 23, and it was a prophecy that still needs to be fulfilled. And of course, there has been segments of history where Esau Edom was put down low as a servant or a slave, but this is going to be his last hurrah, I should say, the last time that he's going to be in a power position. Okay, Genesis chapter 25, verse 23 reads, "And Yahweh Shem Yahushua said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger." Now, when you go into that story, the elder is Esau, the younger is Jacob, twin sons, okay? But they were not identical, they were fraternal, and you can go into that particular chapter and it goes into the description of those 2 individuals, okay? But Jacob is the father of the Israelites, Esau is the father of the Edomites, okay? All right, now, for you wacky-tacky Christians, this is also backed up in Romans chapter 9, verse 12, where it says, "It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger." Okay, so it's still important, and it still resonates today, all right? That's why it's backed up again in the New Testament. Okay, but I'm going to end it on this. I always like to end my videos on a good note with some type of silver lining. And there is light at the end of the tunnel. So in other words, there is a happy ending. Okay, now I'm going to go into the restoration of Israel, or Yasharallah, as depicted in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 2. And it reads, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." Okay, let me read the New Living Translation. "The nations of the world will help the people of Israel to return, and those who come to live in Yahweh's land will serve them. Those who captured Israel will themselves be captured, and Israel will rule over its enemies." Okay, and if you want to look at the list of enemies, you can just go into Psalms 83rd chapter, and it gives you the list of those heathen nations, with Esau Edom being the top heathen nation that's going to be ruled over. Okay, so I just want to bring that out. I've been wanting to pull this lesson out for quite some time. Every time I think about this particular scene, it always harkens back to when I was a food server, but still, I'm still a servant to this day. But Lord willing, I'm part of that number. Yahweh Shem Yahushua will come and deliver me out of this particular position, as well as the other elect. Okay. Well, I just wanted to share that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, who gives me the strength and the spirit to continue to strive and adore these last days. Shalom to the hopeful elect, and on to the next video.